Welcome back, student. In this section, we are discussing the next chapter, that is motion along a straight line. Before discussing about the motion along a straight line, first we can consider when we can say an object is in a state of motion. Only if the position of object changes with respect to time, then only we can say that that object is in a state of motion. If the position of that object changes with respect to time, then we can say that object is in a state of motion. Otherwise, that means if the position does not change with respect to time, we can say that that object is in a state of rest. Position changing means, that means suppose we place an object in a particular position, then the time is proceeding, that means time increasing. Then after a particular interval of time, when we observe the position of that object, it changes its position or location, then we can say that object is in a state of motion. And if you place an object at a particular position, and after a particular interval of time, if you observe that object remains in the same position, then we can say that that object is in a state of rest, because it does not change the time with position with respect to time. Okay. Then in this chapter, we only discussing about the motion of object along a straight line. That means rectilinear motion is only considering. Motion can be classified into different categories, but in this chapter we are only discussing about the rectilinear motion. That means the motion of object along a straight line only. Okay. Then next we have to discuss certain terms related to this motion. Okay. The first one is position. That means how we can define the position of an object. In order to define the position of an object, we require a reference point and a system of axes. Reference point and a set of axes is required in order to define the position of an object. For example, now you will say that is your position is in the home, in your own room or in your study room. That means with respect to the house, with respect to your house, you mention the position, your current position. In the same way, in order to define the position of any object, we require a reference point. With respect to a particular point, we can say that that object is now with respect to that one here or there. Okay. So a reference point is required, and also a set of axes is required. In order to exactly mention your position, that means with respect to the room, at which location you are, that means at the center of room or in a corner of room or in that at the door of that room. Okay, so in order to mention that one, a set of axes is also required. Okay, and in this chapter we consider a rectangular coordinate system. For the convenience, we selecting the rectangular coordinate system with the 3 axes. Mainly we consider 3 axes, that is the x-axis, y-axis and a z-axis. Okay, and that is the axis system we are considering and a particular reference point. And with respect to this rectangular coordinate system, the origin or the intersecting point of these 3 axes, x, y, z axis, considered as the origin. Okay, so that is a reference point, and the x, y, z axis are the set of 3 axes in order to describe the position. Okay, then with respect to the reference point and the set of axes, if any coordinate value, that means x coordinate value, y coordinate value or z coordinate value, or more than one coordinate value may be changes with respect to time, then we can say that object is in a state of motion. Okay, that means with respect to that origin or with respect to the reference point, if any one of the coordinate, sometimes it may be the x coordinate, sometimes it may be the y coordinate, or sometimes it may be the z coordinate, or more than one coordinate, x, y coordinate simultaneously can change, or y, z coordinate simultaneously can be changed, or x, z coordinate may be simultaneously changed, or the 3 is also possible. That means x, y, z coordinate is simultaneously possible to change. Then that change we are considered with respect to the origin. And if only one coordinate is changing along with the or with respect to the time, then we can say that that is in a one-dimensional motion. Means only one coordinate, that may be x coordinate, y coordinate or z coordinate, and in that particular situation we are saying that that motion is in a one-dimensional motion, because only one axis is required to represent that position change. That may be x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis. Okay. Then if any two coordinates are changing at the same time, that may be x and y coordinate, or y and z coordinate, or x and z coordinate. Then with respect to the origin, the values of this xy coordinate or yz coordinate or xz coordinate may be changed. In that particular situation, we say that it is a two-dimensional motion. The two coordinates are changing simultaneously, so it is considered as a two-dimensional motion. Okay. Then in order to represent this two-dimensional motion, two axes is must. Okay. If the xy coordinate are changing, then x-axis and y-axis is required. Then yz coordinate are changing, then y-axis and z-axis is required. If x z coordinates are changing, then x-axis and z-axis is required. Okay. Then suppose if three coordinates are changing, that is x, y, and z coordinates are simultaneously changes, then that is considered as a three-dimensional motion. And in order to represent that particular motion, we require this x, y, and z axis. Okay. Then the selection of coordinate system, that means whether it is only one axis required or two axes is needed or three axes are considered, that depends upon the situation. If a one-dimensional motion, then we require only one axis. If we have to express or define or represent a two-dimensional motion, then two axes are required. And if we want to express or represent a three-dimensional motion, then we require three set of axes. The selection of coordinate system depends upon the particular situation. That means whether it is a one-dimensional motion, two-dimensional motion, or three-dimensional motion. With respect to that one, we have to select only one axis, two axes, or three axes. In order to describe the motion, we require the position change along with the time. So the measurement of time requires a clock. So a coordinate system along with a clock is known as a frame of reference. A coordinate system along with a clock in order to measure the time. Then the coordinate system along with a clock is known as a frame of reference. Then the position change may be positive or negative. That means on the left side of the origin or the reference point, it is considered as negative. Then on the right side of the origin or the reference point, it is considered as a positive values. Okay. The next term we have to consider is the path length. Path length, or otherwise it is known as distance. Path length or distance means it is a total length of the path covered by an object during its motion. Suppose we are considering an object in a state of motion, that means its position changes with respect to time. Then the complete length of the path covered by that particular object during that position change is considered as the path length or distance. The unit in order to express this path length or the distance, we are using the SI unit meter. And the next term is displacement. Displacement means the shortest distance between the initial and final position of an object during its motion is termed as the displacement. Whether that object moves through any particular path, and when we are considering the displacement, only we have to consider the initial and final point, and the shortest or the straight line distance between the initial and final point is termed as the displacement of that object during its motion. Or otherwise we can say that the position change in a given time along a definite direction or along a particular direction, that is considered, that is also we can define for the displacement. The position change in a given time along a definite direction. Then for example, if we are considering the position of an object, only we are considering a one-dimensional motion, then position of object is x1 at a time t1, and after a particular time its position changes to x2. That means at a time t2 its position is changes to x2. Then the displacement of that object in a time interval t2 minus t1, that is a time interval t2 minus t1, then the displacement or the position change is x2 minus x1. Only we are considering the initial and final position and the position change in that particular interval of time. Delta x is a notation using here For this along x-axis, we represent as delta x. Along y, if it is along y-axis, then we represent it as delta y, and if it is along z-axis, we represent it as delta z. Anyway, here that delta x equal to x2 minus x1. That is the displacement. And in order to represent the displacement, also we use the SI unit as meter. Okay. Meter is the SI unit in order to express this displacement. And when we are considering a comparison between this distance and displacement, so a lot of differences we can mention in case of this distance and displacement. Okay. In order to mention the first difference between these two, first we have to consider what is a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. All the physical quantities are broadly classified into the scalar quantities and vector quantities. What is a scalar quantity and what is a vector quantity? A scalar quantity means that is a physical quantity which consists only a particular magnitude. There is no definite direction. There is no direction, but a particular magnitude is there. That kind of physical quantities are known as a scalar quantities. For example, this temperature, mass, then this path length or distance. These things are particular magnitude, a particular values, but there is no definite direction. Such quantities are known as what? The scalar quantities. Okay. And what will be the vector quantities? A vector quantity means that is a physical quantity which has both the magnitude and direction. That particular quantities have a particular or a definite direction. And such quantities are known as a vector quantities, both the magnitude and direction. For example, if you consider this displacement or velocity and acceleration, force, these particular physical quantities have a particular magnitude and as well as a particular direction will be there. Okay. Such quantities are known as a vector quantities. And the vector quantities are usually represented with an arrowhead on the top or a dash on the top. Okay, when we are represent that particular quantities as a vector quantity, we use a vector notation or arrowhead on the top of that notation or simply a dash line. Okay. Then comparison between this distance and displacement. Here the distance have no particular direction. For the distance there is no definite direction, so the distance is considered as a scalar quantity. Okay. And the displacement is a particular direction, is in a particular direction, so that is a vector quantity. That is the first difference we can mention between distance and a displacement. Okay. Distance is a scalar quantity, displacement is a vector quantity. Okay. That means distance have no particular direction, but displacement has a particular or a definite direction. Then another one we can say that the distance is always a positive value. Distance is always a positive value, but the displacement sometime it may be positive, sometime it may be negative, or in sometime it may be zero. How it becomes zero? Suppose already we mentioned that the displacement means it is the position change between the initial and final position. Suppose in a motion of an object, its initial and final position will be the same. That means object starts from a particular point and moves through different path, and finally it reaches to the origin itself or the starting point itself. And what will be the distance? Distance means we have to measure the total length of the path covered by that object. But displacement means it is only we have to consider the difference between initial and final position. Now here in case what? The initial and final position is the same. So there is no displacement. That means the magnitude of displacement becomes zero. That is a possibility. Then another difference we can consider, this one is, that is the definition itself. What is path length or distance means we have to measure the total length of the path covered by that object, but displacement means we have to only consider the shortest distance between the initial and final position. Okay. Then another one is this, distance is always positive, then but displacement may be positive, negative, or maybe zero. If the initial and final positions are same, then its magnitude becomes zero. And the displacement never exceeds the distance. In certain cases, the distance and displacement may be equal. That means if the object is moving along a straight line in a particular direction, then both the distance and displacement will be equal. But the displacement never exceeds the distance. Displacement value never obtain more than that of the distance. Sometimes these two quantities may be equals, but it never exceeds. Okay, the displacement value never exceeds the distance. With an example, we will get more clarification for that one. Suppose consider an object moving from a particular point A to C through a point B, as shown in that particular figure. That object moving from A to C through a point B. Okay, then when we measure the distance or path covered by that object during its motion is, we have to consider we have to add the length of that path AB and the BC. Then in this particular case, it becomes the 10 meter plus 8 meter, that is 18 meter will be the path length. Whereas when we consider the displacement, we have to consider the shortest distance between the initial and final point. Now the initial point is A and the final point is C. So the distance between initial and final point, the shortest or the straight line distance between the initial and final point A and C is, directly we can obtain it as 12 meter. Okay, then that is the particular case. Suppose if the object is moving from A to C along that straight line, then in that case the distance and displacement will be equal. Suppose that object is moving from A, then it reaches B and reaches C, and finally it is returned to A. And in that particular case, what will be the distance and displacement? In this particular case, the distance means it is AB plus BC plus AC. That means 10 plus 8 plus 12. So that means 18 plus 12 meter. That means 30 meter will be the total path length of this case. Then what will be the displacement in this particular case? Displacement means we have to consider the distance between initial and final position. Here what is the initial and final position? Here initial and final position will be the same, and therefore the displacement becomes 0. Okay, and here also in the first case object is moving from A to C. Then if we consider the path length or the distance, the directions are continuously changes. For A to B it is almost in the north direction, and from B to C it is almost in the south direction. So we are not possible to mention a definite direction for that path length. Whereas we consider the displacement, that means the distance between, shortest distance between initial and final position, that means between A and C, there will be a particular or a definite direction, that means along that AC. That means it is directed towards the east. Okay, that exists a particular direction, so the displacement becomes a vector quantity. Okay, and for the clarification for this distance and displacement, again we can consider an example. Suppose a straight line movement, or an object is considered it's moving along a straight line. Just to consider the x-axis we are considering. Okay, then the origin is considered as that O, that is 0. Then A, B, C and D are the points which we are represent on that particular path. Okay, then the values of that A, B, C and D is already expressed in that particular, in the particular figure itself. And the first case we are considering, the object is moving from O to D. That means the object is moving from O to D. Then what is the distance in that case? In that case the distance becomes 110 meter from O to D. And what will be the displacement? Displacement is also what? 110 meter. That means along that straight line it is moving, and it is right side, so it is considered as the positive value. Positive or plus 110 meter is the displacement. And suppose that object is moving from A to B. If the object is moving from A to B, then in this case the distance is 110 meter. Then displacement means, displacement we have to consider, it's minus 60. It is A to B. The displacement means A to B, and the final position minus initial position. So it is A to B. The final position is B, that is minus 60 minus initial position 50. So minus 50 minus 60 minus 50 becomes minus 110 meter. That means the displacement is taken along the negative direction. Okay. Then in another case, or the second case, we consider the object is moving from A to D through B. The object is moved from A to D through the point B. Okay, in this case the distance is from A to B, and again, and after that it is moved from B to D. So it is 110 meter plus 60 meter plus 110 meter. So total it is 280 meter is the distance or path length of that object in this case. And what is the displacement? Displacement means shortest distance between the initial and final position. That means shortest distance between A and D. And here we have to consider it is 110 meter minus 50 meter, that is 60 meter, plus 60 meter is the displacement. Then third case, we are considering the object is moving from A to A through the point C. That is, the object is moving from A to C and return to A. Then distance in this case, what is? It is 150 plus 150, that is 300 meter is the distance. Whereas what will be the displacement? The distance between initial and final position. That means 0 meter becomes the displacement in this particular case. Okay. The next we have to consider the uniform motion and non-uniform motion. When we can say an object is in a state of uniform motion, we can say the object is in a state of uniform motion if the object covers equal distance in equal interval of time. During the movement of that object covers equal distances in equal interval of time. Then we can say that is a uniform motion. That object is in a uniform motion. Particular time intervals are considered. Suppose we consider time interval as 1 second. So in the first second, suppose that object covers 2 meter distance, and in the next second also that object should cover 2 meter distance. Then in that way, that means if an object covers equal distance in equal interval of time, then that particular type of motion is known as a uniform motion. Okay. Then what will be the non-uniform motion? If it is not a uniform, then that is a non-uniform. During the motion, if the object does not cover equal distance in equal interval of time, that means it covers unequal distance in equal interval of time. The time interval we are considering equal, but the distance covering is unequal. That means if we consider 1 second as a time interval, in the first second, suppose that object covers 2 meter, but in the next second, it does not cover 2 meters. Maybe it covers 1 meter, or it maybe covers 2.5 meter or 3 meter, in that way. Okay. That is, unequal distance are covered in equal interval of time, then that is a non-uniform motion. Next, we have to consider this position time graph. That means in order to represent the motion means we have to consider the position change with respect to time. So we require the time coordinate and position coordinates. Okay. Then in a position time graph, we have to consider this time along the x-axis and position of that object along the y-axis. In a normal condition, we are considering the time along the x-axis and position along the y-axis. Okay. And different situations we can consider. First situation, just for a simple situation we can consider. Suppose an object is in a state of rest. Now we can draw the position time graph, or how we can represent the position time graph of this object that is in a state of rest. In a state of rest means position remains the same, but the time increases or the time proceeds. So whenever we consider the position time graph of an object is in a state of rest, that always gives a straight line graph parallel to the time axis or parallel to the x-axis, because there is no change in position. Position remains the same. What will be the initial position? That remains the same, but the time increases. So we obtain a straight line parallel to the x-axis or time axis for the case of object in a state of rest. Okay. Then in case of motion, when we are considered, the time proceeds along with that one, what? The position of object also changes. So already we mentioned that the position change may be in an equal way and in an unequal way. And if we consider the equal way of position change, that is a uniform motion. Now how we can represent the uniform motion in a position time graph? Same, time along x-axis and position along y-axis. Then for the equal interval of time, equal amount of position change takes place. So we obtain a straight line which is diagonal to that particular x and y axis. That particular straight line graph we obtain diagonal to that x and y axis. Okay, that kind of a straight line we obtain for a uniform motion. The position time graph for an uniform motion, we obtain this kind of a particular straight line. Okay. Then what will be for a non-uniform motion? That means time interval we are considering along the x-axis in an equal manner, but the position change will be in an unequal manner. That is, not in an equal way the position changes. So we obtain an irregular pattern of graph. time increases gradually, but the position change in a random way, so we obtain an irregular pattern of graph as shown in the figure. That is the position time graph for an object in a non-uniform motion. Okay.